But before we close the record books, the three players most responsible for America's team's resurgence have a few marks they'd like to set, including the most wins ever by a Cowboy team. Sadly, the sun will set today on the legendary career of Bear linebacker Mike Singletary. The eyes of Texas will be upon this native son who will hang it up after 12 years of terrorizing opponents. And what does the future hold for this man, Chicago head coach Mike Ditka? After 11 years with the Bears, nobody's sure if he'll return to the sidelines at Soldier Field next year. The regular season's winding down, but remember, the playoffs loom on the horizon. Live at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, the Cowboys and the Bears. Pat Summerall here with John Madden on this warm afternoon, unseasonably warm in fact. And John, it's foolish to call any game a meaningless game. There's a lot at stake here.
Well, you know, you look at the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson, and he says, we want to be ready for the playoffs. We don't want to play sloppy today. We want to be crisp. We want to go into the playoffs strong. Now, an interesting thing on the other side, the Chicago Bears, they had a disappointing year. They're only 5-10, and they're starting this guy, Will Fuhrer. He's a rookie, a left-handed quarterback, fourth-round draft choice. He's only played 4 plays all year. That was against the Cleveland Browns. So this is his first start. We talked to him last night, and he seemed pretty calm. Of course, this guy here isn't very calm because this could be the last day that he coaches the Chicago Bears.
But Mike Ditka was very, very calm when we talked to him last night and really gave us no indication.
No, and he's very interested in being back. He wants to be the Bears coach next year.
Clayton Holmes on the kickoff return breaks almost out of the pack. Out to about the 28-yard line, Troy Aikman opens at quarterback. In front of him, Tuinei, Gogan, Stepnoski, Giesick, and Williams. They've all had good years. And speaking of good years, so has Jay Novacek, the tight end. With Aikman in the backfield, Smith and Darrell Johnston, Irvin and Harper will open as the wide receivers. Johnston out. Let's see how they open here.
And of course, Kevin Gogan is starting for Nate Newton, who didn't suit up today, but did this week, was named to the Pro Bowl.
And very excited about that. That's Novacek on the move. There's Emmitt Smith. He needs a big day. On defense for the Bears, Dent and Perry and McMichael and Trace Armstrong. They play a 4-man front with Cox and Singletary and Roper behind.
Emmett Smith.
Wolford and Fain, the cornerbacks. Mark Carrier and Sean Gale, the safety. And this is the rushing title at stake. Barry Foster of the Steelers, his game is over. Emmitt Smith needs 106 yards today to win the second rushing title. 2nd and 7. He got 3 of those on first down. Aikman. Irvin wrestled it loose, and a flag on the play. Wolford, the cover man, a gain of 7 if it's allowed.
You know, this guy here, Michael Irvin, is also in a race today. He needs 112 yards.
Number 21, defense. Pass is completed. First down.
See him against Wolford here. See, he just runs up and stops. Wolford's in tight coverage. The left hand was okay. The right hand wasn't okay. Left hand, good play. Right hand, penalty. But anyway, Michael Irvin needs 112 yards to beat out Sterling Sharp for the NFL passing yardage total. So we got some battles going on here today.
Individual and team. Smith, right side. How about 3 more? And we'd like to welcome those of you who watch Green Bay and Minnesota. The Vikings winning 27-7. They play the Redskins at home in the playoffs as they begin next Saturday. We're at Texas Stadium, and we extend again season's greetings. Emmitt Smith with a lot at stake here. He would like very much, both personally and monetarily, to win the second rushing title of his career.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned monetarily. He does have an incentive. Someone said he didn't have any incentives to win the rushing title. He does have a monetary incentive.
Aikman to Smith. Out of bounds, short of the first down by Jim Morrissey.
And that's where Emmitt Smith is so dangerous, and I think so much a part of this Cowboy offense. The thing that makes the Cowboy offense so dangerous, you can hand it to him, and he can lead the league in rushing, or you can throw it to him, and the guy can always make someone miss and make a big play for you. So he's not only a threat on any play to run the ball, but also a threat as a pass receiver.
Actually, it's a very basic offense, very simple, in fact. But when you have those people like Aikman and Smith and Irvin and the rest of them, it becomes very complicated to stop it. Aikman to throw it. Batted backwards and almost intercepted by William Perry.
That would have been an interesting thing to see William Perry, the refrigerator, to get one on this last day of the regular season and take that ball and rumble on down the sideline. But here, Aikman is trying to throw across the middle. He has the lane. I think it was McMichael, number 76, who was blocked on the line of scrimmage, knocked the ball up in the air, and William Perry almost had an interception. But look at McMichael. He was 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage, the rest of the rushers. Perry couldn't catch it, nor could he kick it.
Nor could he pick it up.
He shot 3 air balls on one play.
Saxon's punt is a low liner. It's a Cowboy bounce. And down at about the 16-yard line by Kenneth Gann. So the Bears will take over. 42-yard punt by Saxon. No score at Texas Stadium. Will Fuhrer, opening quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Very, very little experience, not just in the pros, but anywhere. Up front, Ozzie, Bortz, Fontenot, Thayer, and Van Horn. Keith Jennings, the tight end. Lewis and Muster open at the running backs, with Davis and Morgan wide. Morgan comes left, Davis right.
I don't think that the Cowboys really expected Fuhrer to start. I don't even know that the Cowboys know that he's left-handed.
Now they know it. Incomplete. Intended for Davis.
Oh, that had to be a penalty on Wendell Davis.
Had to be.
Yeah, he just pushed right there. He just pushed Kevin Smith.
The Cowboys, excellent defense. Haley, Maryland, Casillas, and Tolbert. Norton Jones and Vincent Smith, the linebackers. Kevin Smith and Larry Brown, the cornerbacks, and Washington and Everett, the safety man. Look at this.
Yeah, here it is. You see Kevin Smith there. Now watch. Wendell Davis just pushes him right there. And he put his arms out like he didn't do it. He did it in front of everyone. Everyone saw that.
Handoff is to Lewis. A loss of a yard.
And there's an exciting guy, Russell Maryland. One, because he's playing football, and that'll excite you. But two, he's from Chicago. And he says, no matter what, you know, you grow up someplace, you're a Bear fan, all your friends are Bear fans, your dad's watching, you always talk about the Bears. And he said, boys, when I get a chance to play the Bears, I better play well.
And when he got over the problems that he had earlier in the season with his foot, he's been playing for the last half of the season like an all-pro.
Yeah, he had two. He has a broken toe and a dislocated toe. And one day he looked down at his foot and the toe was looking back up at him. He knew he had a problem.
Anderson is the lone setback. Fuhrer back to throw it. Pass caught by the tight end Keith Jennings, not enough for a first down. Stopped by Norton.
I'll tell you one thing about Fuhrer, he throws fastballs.
Yes, he does.
I mean, that ball doesn't stay in the air for a long time, and that's the secret in this league. The longer the ball stays in the air, the more chance you have for interceptions.
Mike Ditka in conversation with his young quarterback. Actually, he's not that young. He's punt. Coming back to Kevin Smith. It takes a Cowboy bounce down to about midfield. No score yet, but the Cowboys take over in pretty good shape after that 31-yard punt by Gardocki. Back on a warm afternoon in Texas Stadium. The Cowboys ball just across the 50-yard line. No score as yet. Emmitt Smith and Darrell Johnston behind Troy Aikman. Throw on first down if he has time. Outside, that's a lateral to Smith. Just a couple of yards to Richard Fain knocked Smith out of bounds.
Yeah, this was when you're a rookie quarterback, you're going to get a lot of coaching. Mike Ditka on the left, Greg Landry on Fuhrer's left, Johnny Rowland behind him. Then he goes to sit down. Mike Ditka follows him to the bench. Talk to him. Yeah, any quarterback gets a lot of suggestions. Everyone telling him what to do. But when you're a rookie quarterback, starting your first game, man, you got everyone coaching you.
2nd and 8. First down, tripped up by Morrissey. Now for an NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, it's over in Kansas City, and the Chiefs have qualified for the AFC playoffs. 3 turnovers resulting in 3 touchdowns. Derek Thomas with the fumble recovery in the end zone here. The Chiefs win at 42-20, and they're on their way to postseason play, Pat.
No score at Texas Stadium. Those Chiefs are a strange team. Up one week, down the next. Different running backs.
Yeah,
sort of a mystery.
But that Derek Thomas always looks like a great player.
He's no mystery. To Smith. That'll be enough for a first. He picked up 3.
The other thing that amazes me about Emmitt Smith is not only does he run, does he catch. We've seen him make some big blocks this year. But the guy always looks fresh. You know, you talk to him during the week, and he's bright-eyed and fresh and jumping around. You watch him play, and he never looks like the defense ever gets to him. You know what I mean?
I know very well what you mean. One thing, he is a lot bigger than he appears to be.
And very, very powerful.
Novacek had it, dropped it.
That's a sight you're not going to see much. Jay Novacek dropping a pass. This is a sight you do see a lot, a defensive coach drawing upside down. That's the way as a defensive coach you got to stand and draw upside down. Put your guys on the bench and they read the plays. They're doing this, we got to do this.
Either you do that or you're selling something.
Hey, they probably just figured out who this Will Furrier is.
Yeah. Well, he played 4 plays against Cleveland, and that's the total of his NFL experience. Here comes a fair blitz, and that's Emmitt Smith. 4-yard gain, stopped by Morrissey again. Bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons that the Bears aren't as good as they used to be, is because they don't have that dominant defense anymore. Remember when they were a great team, you couldn't do this. You couldn't block like this. You couldn't get holes like this. You wouldn't have running lanes like this.
You just about couldn't block number 72.
No, and now they're blocking him. Now they're pushing him around, and they lost a lot of great players on defense, and they didn't replace them with great players.
And they're losing another great one after today. Singletary. Aikman intended for Kelvin Martin, incomplete.
Aikman's pass intended for
I'll tell you one good one that they're going to have, though, is right in the middle of things down there, and that's Alonzo Spellman. I mean, this guy is a big guy. He weighs 285 pounds. Watch him here. He has 5% body fat. I mean, he is a big guy who weighs 285 pounds, and he's skinny. And this guy is going to be a player. I mean, he's only a rookie, but in a couple of years, this guy has a chance to be a dominant player. You get him down, he kicks you.
They're going to go for this on 4th and about 6. Here comes the Bear blitz again. Aikman buying time, and out of bounds he goes.
They didn't get a first down. I think they figured they was too far for a field goal. They didn't want to punt, But I'll tell you, did their left tackle, Mark Tuinei, pick off a blitz? If you want to see someone pick off a blitz, watch 71 at the top. Doink! That is the end of the line.
And look at him. He's ready for somebody else.
Whoever else wants it. You want some action? Come on.
First and 10 Bears. 35. Pure outside. Anthony Morgan. And again, for the NFL update, let's send you back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Pat, at Foxborough, Pete Stoyanovich from 35 yards out kicks the game winner for Miami in overtime, 16-13. Miami wins the AFC East if Buffalo loses at Houston tonight, Pat.
No score in the first quarter here. Bear first down. A Bear second down, beg your pardon, about a yard to go for a first.
One thing that was impressive there, the Cowboys came on a blitz against a rookie quarterback. The Bears picked it up, and Fuhrer completed a pass.
Muster, the ball carrier, picked up a couple. Stopped by Vincent Smith.
You know, yesterday we were talking to Jimmy Johnson. He said that we may do more blitzing because it's the last game of the season. You know, we've already clinched the playoffs. We got the home field. And he said we may need blitzing just to get our defense fired up. He said because he doesn't intend, and he's always thinking ahead of things like that. He didn't think his team would come into this game real fired up. So he said we may have to fire them up, and the way to do it is to blitz more than we normally would. Then you get a rookie quarterback, then that gives you a double reason to do it.
Chased and down by Casillas. There were a lot of people, particularly here, that thought he should go to the Pro Bowl.
Well, here he is. Let's watch Tony Casillas here. And we know that, you know, as you say, the Cowboys are the #1 defense in the league and didn't have anyone in the Pro Bowl. You see, once he gets this outside arm inside the guard, then he has a free run to the quarterback. You want to get your outside arm inside his arm. And once you do that, there's nothing he can do. Because Tony is a strong and quick guy.
Second down. Lewis is the lone setback this time. Fuhrer calls it Bear timeout. Nothing score. 6:15 left in the first. To summarize the NFC playoff picture, the 49ers and Cowboys will have first-round byes. Wild card games, Washington at Minnesota, and the Eagles at New Orleans, and that ought to be some contest. Not that the other one won't. Second down for the Bears. Second and 18. Kelly Blackwell was the move man. Fuhrer on one hop. Not his best.
Yeah, Fuhrer didn't play a lot of football. He went to Pullman High School. Right. Rosenbaugh, the quarterback for the Phoenix Cardinals, was the quarterback there, so he just played his senior year. Then he went to Virginia Union, which is, well, not Virginia Union, it was Union.
Fork Union.
Yeah, Fork Union, which was a prep school, and played there for a couple of games. Then he went to Virginia Tech, and so he really hasn't played a lot of football.
Morgan's in motion. Pass deflected, rolling. Flag is down, or an object is down. Not a flag. Let's see what happened. Gordon McCarter is the referee.
Well, like I said, I think it was just a pass rush. The Cowboys didn't know that Fuhrer was going to start. They find out they got a rookie here. Jimmy Johnson said he wants to fire his defense up. He's going to blitz more. He does exactly that. He blitzes more. Darren Woodson came from the left side. No one blocked him at all. He was the first guy that hit Fuhrer.
Gardocki under pressure gets off a low end-over-end punt that bounces hit a Bear player at about the 43-yard line of Dallas. Gardocki, left-footed, has had trouble with the pressure from the Dallas rush, something they haven't been doing of late. 33-yard kick. 5:20 left in the first quarter. No score yet.
You know, one thing about that Cowboy defense, that was Darren Woodson that came in on the pass rush. It seems like, you know, Darren Woodson isn't a starter and Kenneth Gant isn't a starter. They're two young safeties, and they seem to be in there a heck of a lot, because one of the best things that Cowboy defense does is play nickel defense. In fact, the Cowboys say we look for reasons to get our nickel in there.
Dickerson in motion. Emmitt Smith with the ball. Good pursuit by the Bears. Limit Emmett Smith to just 3 yards. Those two guys you were talking about, Woodson and Gant, just a matter of time until they are regulars on that defense, because they're both very talented and make things happen.
In fact, Jimmy Johnson was saying yesterday, if he knew that Darren Woodson was going to be as good as he was, in fact, he was a linebacker in college, they made him a safety. If he knew he was going to be as good as he was, he would have played him more in training camp, and he'd be a starter this year.
He's about 215, and that's what most teams are looking for now, those big safety men. That's to Johnston. Enough for a first down. Wrestled down by Morrissey.
You know, one thing as we see this, you know, the Cowboys have good pass protection. They've had good pass protection all year. And the one thing they don't want to do is go into this last game and get Troy Aikman knocked around too much.
That's Chris Zorich, who hit him just as he let it go, and now that's what Jimmy Johnson's complaining about. After he let it go.
That's what he's saying, and he wants to protect Troy Aikman. In fact, I think Troy Aikman will probably play at least a half, but we're going to see Steve Berline in part of this game today.
And there's another story. Aikman behind Irvin.
And Aikman again, just as he threw it, or just after he threw it, he was hit. That time it was by Richard Dent. Zorich had played before, Dent on that time. They have pretty good pass protection, but it's not real solid. There's always someone around there. You see, this is a ball. He had to throw that. He threw it a little early, made it a little outside and a little behind Irvin. But Richard Dent was the guy that made him throw it that way.
Richard Dent, one of those guys who, when certain conditions are okay, can still really bring it to the quarterback. Draw play, Emmett Smith. First down. A gain of 12 for Emmett Smith. Morrissey made the stop.
You know, in this play, you're going to see here's Dent here. Now what they're going to do is they're going to get him, try and get him up the field on a draw. Then they're going to come right back into this hole. That's what you do with a pass rush. You try and get him up the field, get him in this position, collapse this side, and then you get that running hole on a little delay or a draw. That gives Emmett Smith 36 yards for today.
First down, Cowboys. Smith gets another catch. Gets some more yards. Got 7 on that carry, so he's creeping up on Barry Foster.
And the other thing about Emmett Smith, he always thanks his offensive line. Last year, remember, Emmett Smith gave all his offensive linemen Rolexes. This year, he's given them all airplane trips to any place they want to go.
Mike Singletary is the Bear who remains down on the field.
And we know today is Mike Singletary's last game. We talked to him on the bus today just before he went into dress, and he was really, you know, he's not thinking about last game or last game this, and he's just playing it the way he has for 12 years. There's just one way to play football. You get ready for the game and you go out and play. And you don't see that sight very often. In those 12 years, you haven't seen Mike Singletary come off the field very often.
Not many times. And when you consider where he plays in the middle like that, every play is full of action.
He's been an inspiration to a lot of people, players and non-players.
Outside to Darryl Johnson. Down at about the Bear 15 by Donnell Wolford and Mark Carrier. Gain of 12.
Yeah, this play seems to work all the time. The bootleg play. You see where you fake to a back, you fake to Emmitt Smith going to the left, then you bootleg out to the right and you find a tight end, or in this case a fullback. In the case of Daryl Johnston, hit him with the ball. But the bootleg seems to be a pass that is darn near 80 or 90% completed this year.
Always open, it seems. Alfredo Roberts, the second of the Cowboys tight ends, is down.
The Cowboys only have 2 tight ends. Right. They were using a lot more of the 2 tight ends at the same time today.
Final scores: Minnesota knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs with that victory. Kansas City into the playoffs as a result of beating Denver. Miami put some pressure on Buffalo, played Houston tonight with their overtime win over New England. Philadelphia already in the playoffs, beat the Giants. Pittsburgh already in the playoffs, beat Cleveland. And Indianapolis over Cincinnati.
You know, as you were saying, Philadelphia next week on Sunday, we're going to do that game. Philadelphia and the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Boy, that's going to be a heck of a weekend down there. You got the Sugar Bowl one night. You got a New Year's Eve in there somewhere. The partying and stuff. And then you got the Philadelphia Eagles that are always tough, playing the New Orleans Saints in a wild card game.
That's going to be a good weekend to play defense.
Yep, going to be a good weekend for football, good weekend for hitting, especially when those Eagles are involved. And yeah, I think that you always say, do the Eagles have a chance? You know, in fighting, they have a term in boxing. It's called a puncher's chance. And to me, the Eagles are that kind of football team, that they have a puncher's chance because they have a strong defense.
Following the game today,
Alfredo Roberts, he wants to get up, I think, and they're telling him don't move.
Yeah, look, he tried to get up a couple times, like he was trying to get his bearings and telling them something. One thing in the National Football League and all football, that when someone goes down, they want to make sure everything is okay before they move anyone.
Emmett Smith looking with concern at Alfredo.
Yeah, they're bringing in the golf cart now, so they aren't going to take any chances here. They're going to use all the precautions.
Well, that's a pretty good sign right there. If limping like that can be a good sign.
There's Nate Newton there that made the Pro Bowl this year. Alfredo Roberts, of course, the player that they're taking off there. Backup tight end. Big Nate was happy. You know, he's had a bad knee all year and played with it and made the Pro Bowl.
Alfredo did manage a little bit of a smile, so if injuries can be encouraging, that one was.
And there's the Pro Bowl selection for the Cowboys. You see Emmitt Smith, Jay Novacek are the starters. Aikman, Irvin, Newton, and Stepnoski made the team. There's a lot of talk here in Dallas that their defense, it's ironic, is #1 in the league and didn't have one player make the Pro Bowl.
Deep is Emmett Smith. Aikman just did get rid of it. Hit just as he let it go.
You know, that's the thing that Aikman's has happened to him today. He's getting rid of the ball, but there's always someone hitting him, just as you said, just as he threw the ball. And again, that time it was Richard Dent. The pass protection is pretty good, but it's not solid where they're getting everyone. There's always been a guy, whether it's a Zorich one time, McMichael hit him one time, and Dent hit him a couple times. There's always one guy that seems to be picking away at Troy Aikman.
So it brings up 2nd and 10. Aikman's 5 out of 10. Johnston again in motion. Emmitt Smith shook one tackler and got down to the 10. Sean Gale pinned him down, a gain of 4.
4 or 5 yards.
Yeah, that's one of those good news, bad news. Good news is you've clinched everything. You don't have to play everyone. But the bad news is that you have to go for a record, which is also the good news. And the bad news is you have to stay in there to do it. But if you're a player, you should want to play. I mean, I've never felt that it should ever get to the point where someone has to have a reason to win, or someone says, oh, geez, poor Emmitt Smith has to play. Anytime you use that, there's something wrong with this game.
Aikman quick to Harper, who juggled it momentarily and then dropped it, and it was almost picked off, but incomplete after all that. A Bear blitz put again the pressure on Aikman.
Yeah, they're coming after him. Now, that looked like it was a bad throw because Harper was running a slant to the inside, and you want to do two things. You want to lead the guy in a little and keep the ball down. Aikman did two things that weren't very good. He threw it high and behind him. And he got that chin again. It seems like every year Troy Aikman splits his chin open.
A couple of times. Elliott from 28 yards away, no good. Somebody got a hand on it, but I don't think it was high enough to begin with.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jimmy Johnson was saying yesterday, the thing I don't want to do is play a sloppy game and go flopping into the playoffs. And I think so far the Cowboys have started off a little sloppy. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to go flopping into the playoffs.
Right.
Now, that was tipped or knocked down, but the other thing was that was a low kick.
Oh, yeah.
That was James Williams that hit the ball, but I think that ball was just hit right into Williams.
Don't think it would have been good anyway.
No, that's like something, you know, you try and get something up in the air, and it doesn't go in the air. I mean, you have to get the ball up higher than Williams' hand was on that play.
So still no score as the Bears take over. Muster. A couple of yards, three perhaps, stopped by Smith and Jones.
Brad Muster was telling us last night, it's interesting, he said Will Fuhrer, of course, the rookie quarterback, he said he gets in the huddle, and before he calls a play, he says, play. He said, just like, well, what else is there? He said, what are you going to say, joke?
Order dinner?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Yeah. He gets down on one knee is the other thing. I always like the quarterback to stand up when he calls a play, but he gets down on his knee and he goes, play. And then everyone knows the play's coming. What else would come when you're in a huddle?
Neil Anderson. No, I beg your pardon. Darren Lewis. Gain 5. Tony Tolbert tripped him up. Anderson has seen action on passing downs, and that's about it.
Third down, 2.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score Dallas nothing, the Bears nothing.